We're good. You're joined with men's basketball head coach Mike Dunlap, Jalen Pittman, Harley Kent. I know it was quite a time ago. It was 2 weekends ago when you were last playing. But if we could go over just kind of how it felt to have that opening weekend here in Bronson Arena, how the team went. You had 2 wins. Just kind of go over the whole feeling of that.
I would say that the flavor of the fans and having that advantage showed itself. 1. 2 is that, we're a great mystery ride because we're not sure yet what we are, who we're going to be. So to be able to play 2 solid games and have a pushback that Emporia State gave us, I mean, that we had to win that game. They didn't give it to us. So it was very much of a positive, and you can see the confidence in practice since those 2 games.
Mm-hmm. And I know you said your first 2 wins of the year when you're in Durango, you said you're making ugly pretty, and then these last weekend you had 2 much better performances. What was the difference that changed from that weekend to the following?
Oh, you made pretty ugly.
Made pretty ugly, yeah.
No. I would say ball movement from an offensive standpoint, and guys know where their shots are starting to come from. Mm-hmm. They can get comfortable in that and secure in those kind of spots. And then defensively, to be able to change our defenses, pressure up the floor, and kind of have a 3 or 4 pitch kind of setup on the mound is pretty good for us in that vernacular. So, and also as we played a lot of guys. So when you win and you play a lot of guys, the morale is pretty high. Mm-hmm. So that's good.
For Harley and Jalen, that was your first time playing in Bronson Arena in an actual game setting. Kind of go over the feeling, the crowd. I know you've been playing in Australia your whole lives, but now you're playing in a brand new element. What was it like playing here?
Yeah, it was an unreal experience. I know for a lot of us, that was probably the biggest crowd we've played in front of. So, yeah, it was pretty cool just to, I don't know, when we hit shots, just to hear the crowd go crazy, or if we're going on a little run, just the energy they brought was pretty cool. And I know we're kind of known for having a pretty good crowd, so it's definitely something to look forward to as the season goes on.
Yeah, I was pretty nervous, going into the game, but I think we all prepared pretty well for it, so it was good to play in front of a crowd like that. Nothing compared to Australia, but yeah, it was good to get out there and get the first home game over with. And, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a question for the table. You've had some big games from multiple players this year. Mason Honeyman's had some big games early. Harvey White, of course, had the 20-point-plus game. Ty Allred's had a 20-plus point game. You guys always seem to have someone new every time that's going to pop off and have a great game. How do you credit that to the team being so different, so many new faces? That's for anyone to answer that one.
I think everyone's bought into the kind of team first thing, so no one really is too worried about who's going to go off. And obviously we have good players who can play, so any night anyone can go off. So that's probably one of the best things about our team. Got a lot of good players that are unselfish and willing to do whatever it takes to win. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Harley pretty much covered it. Just a lot of good players. Anyone can get going. But yeah, it's like the ball movement, the unselfishness of our players. And yeah.
Coach, kind of the same thing for you. I mean, coaches like, okay, I know I'm going to get 15, 18 from player X, but you have 6 or 7 guys who can give you that. Is it comforting, or is it a little nerve-wracking that you don't know who's it going to be that night? Or
yeah, I'm not sure about the outcome of how that's going to matriculate in practice. We knew that because of the mathematical patterns that we're showing and the stats and stuff that we take, that it was different. And on one end, that's exciting. But on the other end, it can be a little bit of who's going to show up tonight thing. And as we evolve, there'll be a mathematical pattern that'll come out, be it Ty in shot attempts, it be in rebounds and Will Mortimer, and those things will play themselves out here pretty soon.
Yeah, and guys, with you got your first taste of Bronson, but you also got it without a lot of students here. Have you heard, has Chris or any of the other guys talked to you about how different it is once there's students out here, and kind of eager for that this week?
Yeah, no, they definitely have told us how good the crowds are. Even for that Friday game, I thought that crowd was big, and I think Ty said to me, he was like, "Oh, this is nothing compared to what it's usually like." So I think this week, our first proper home game in front of all students back up. Yeah, I'm excited to see what the crowd turnout's going to be like.
Is it the way that you guys have progressed from the first weekend? And like, we've talked to a lot of guys. It was a little rough, but then as you gone on, last week teams tried to press you. You really didn't have a problem with it. Is it just kind of getting to know each other and each other's games and the system? Is that more comfortable now?
Yeah, kind of just like figuring out that that's what they're going to go to if they're like watching the film back of our previous games and kind of adjusting to what we can do better. And yeah, we kind of been figuring it out with how to beat that.
You also feel a little more comfortable with the other guys on the floor now and understand, okay, I'm going to cut this way, he's going to find me?
Yeah, I think our group's pretty new, so every week just adjusting to each other, and as you said, definitely finding out what everyone does as time goes on, and that's obviously helping. And since the first weekend, we've kind of identified our weaknesses, and we've in practice we've been really focused on that and getting that better, and I think it's starting to pay off.
Coach, back to the RMAC grind now, and it's obviously different than the last time you were in that rodeo, but kind of nice to get back to more familiar type games.
Well, we certainly know the venues, and being an opposing coach coming into this venue, there are certain constants, and one of them is for us is how hard we play, and can we play 94 feet? That's to be determined. I took us out of the press after the first couple games to maybe coach and do a better job of coaching our guys and what they could do. And now we're starting to extend again. And so that grind will be hopefully what we put somebody else through.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to have the Thursday, Saturday set up instead of the Friday, Saturdays. It kind of still kind of see how it's going to play out.
Yeah, I don't have a feel for that other than, say, in the NBA, as far as that goes, or postseason play when we were in the RMAC. I understood that it was necessary that you reload quickly, and here it gives you a little bit more time in order to get your game plan for Saturday. It will be interesting. I don't even think the most seasoned coaches know yet what that will feel like. So I think it's a question mark in a good way, and certainly for us, whatever they would provide, we'll take, because after these 4 games that we play in the RMAC, 2 home, 2 on the road, you have this ginormous break. And so it depends on how you handle that as well to see how you run down the backstretch in the RMAC.
Yeah. What have you guys seen so far from life here and playing basketball here in the U.S. as opposed to back home, and how's the transition been?
Basketball-wise, definitely a lot more fast-paced and probably better athletes over here, so that's probably the biggest change. I'd say that's the biggest change, but yeah.
What about off the floor?
Off the floor, I mean, it's different to where I live. I live on the coast, so it's been a nice change of scenery. We've gone around a little bit and looked around, and yeah, it's pretty cool around here.
How do you feel about winter when it's going to be summer over here?
That's probably, I think a lot of us, we've talked about that a bit, all the Aussies, just about like it's freezing here and back home it's summer, everyone's on the beach, so that's definitely a big change, but it's all part of it. So.
Yeah, basketball-wise, it's definitely, there's a lot more bigger, stronger athletes here. It's more fast-paced, as Harley said, but yeah, it's been a good adjustment to play against. Off the court, it's definitely a lot colder than back home, but yeah, the scenery is kind of nice. And,
This is why Coach gets you warm weather gear and you had no idea what it was for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, wait till you go to Gunnison and Alamosa, right?
All right, question of the week. I know you guys are used to the warmth, of course, but Christmas is coming up. What is your favorite Christmas tradition? Whether that's looking at Christmas lights, going out with family, similar stuff like that. What is some of your favorite Christmas traditions?
For me, usually we have a family brunch at my house where all the cousins and grandparents and all that come over, and then usually go to the beach and relax, and then spending the day together and enjoying each other's company. That's usually what a typical Christmas looks like.
No beach here.
Yeah, probably just like watching a movie with the family, just chilling at home and then having a lunch or a dinner together and spending time. Yeah.
For us, the centerpiece is the team, and then joining our family with the team, which is always a treat. And it also allows, when our children were smaller, a diversity that had to do with Australians, and it could be someone from Austria or whatnot, but the amalgamation of all of that diversity was educational and a lot of fun, because the Australians are known in particular for their humor. And so to get them away from the gym and the business side of things is really a lot of fun for us. Their main course, once they're away from the gym, is levity. And so they provide plenty of that for sure. So, yeah.
All right.
The only other thing I want to say is both these guys come from drop dead gorgeous pieces of this earth. Byron Bay, where Harley's from, is incredible place, one of the prettiest bays you could ever imagine. And then you go up north, all right, and you've never seen anything like the Sunshine Coast, and you got these nice names like Maroochydore, and they have the yabbies, and it's like lobster or whatever. And the first time you get into that cuisine, you realize how special Australia is in terms of the weather and the people and the continent. It's a pretty incredible place.
Mm-hmm. We got Colorado that looks beautiful here too.
Drop dead gorgeous, and when you're on this side of the range, and I've only lived on the other side, Denver, for 11 years, the beauty definitely is incredible, and being able to get to places like Aspen and Telluride and Crescent Butte and all of that, we're really spoiled on this side, I think.
Definitely. All right, that's all we have. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. All right, guys, good job.